Hello everyone. Welcome to the last demo day of 2022. Once again, I'm super happy to be here for another retrospective of what has been done last month. But I'm going to tell you straight away, and maybe you are seeing it, but this demo day is a bit different from the others because I'm not alone at all. And I have almost all of the team here on the left. Maybe you can see them in small. I actually wanted to have more of the team, but they couldn't enter because it's 10 people max in this streaming. But maybe some more people will come along the way, some will leave along the way, and all of that. I'm super happy to be here and to have you here. So like every demo day, don't hesitate to leave a comment or a question on the chat. We will try to answer it as fast as possible, but just keep in mind that there is a slight delay, so it might take a little bit more time. And before starting with anything, I'm just gonna go over the agenda. So first, we will have Romaric as usual, who is gonna tell you a bit more about Qovery in case you are new here. Hi, Romaric, nice to have you here again.
Hello.
Then we will talk about after that, we'll talk about the 3 main releases that were done during the last months. And then we will take the advantage to have the whole team in here. So it will be time for retrospective, where we will walk you through the most important topic of 2022. So first, for that, I will have the team to answer some of my questions. And I can already tell you that I will have, you will know all the secret behind some of our feature at the end of that. So just stay for that because it's going to be quite cool. And then to end this special demo day, Romaric is going to speak probably maybe for the last time of 2022, maybe not, but it will give you the last word of 2022, let's say, and speak a bit more about 2023. So I think we can begin. Romaric, the stage is all yours, and I will let you introduce Qovery.
Yeah, and thanks, Albane. And I know that you expect from me that it's the last talk of the year, but it will not be the case. So just stay with me.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump into Qovery. So just basically, if you don't know about Qovery, what's the platform? So it's what we call a self-service infrastructure platform that you can use just to respond to the shortage of, all those companies that try to just overload all those DevOps people to provision ops people to provision infrastructure, environment, all those things. So it's a platform that you can install on your cloud account and start using right away to deploy your applications, your environment, and your infrastructure. One major aspect of our platform is that we bring the ability to the DevOps teams and ops people just to control the infrastructure, to provisions, to give access to the infrastructure to the developer teams. Then from that, they can just be faster to release the new features. And we have tons of other things that we do provide from that. But you already know about Qovery, so I just want to move on as fast as possible. We have a platform that is used by more than 40,000 developers, users, DevOps around the world. You know about that. We do exist now for 3 years, so it's still growing fast. That's pretty good. And something that is also really important about Qovery is that it's a platform that do integrates with your working environment, so you can install it on your cloud account, but we have also different kinds of interfaces like a web UI, a CLI, an API, a Terraform provider. And if you want to deploy your application from your Git provider, you can connect to GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, integrates with your CI system, and so many more. So yeah, that's it for that. So it's your turn, Albane. What did we do for the last month?
Yeah, as you have no idea, I'm gonna give you a little bit more insight about it. But thank you so much, Romaric. So last month, obviously our team was super busy. There is not any months where they are not busy. We had plenty of things to do. There are some things that we cannot talk about it yet because it's not out, but there are 3, let's say, main release or main thing we can talk about right now. The first one that we are going to talk about today are the logs. So the logs were already available in the V2, as you probably already know. And right now, the logs are available in the V3 too. And basically, now we merge the deployment log and application logs so you can navigate easily between them. And I think, Romaric, you can even show us what it looked like in real life, no?
Yeah, sure. Can you share my screen? Yes, that's perfect. Thanks.
Sure.
Yeah, if you know about, so if you already use the V2 versions of Qovery, you remember that you had this interface. So you had the distinctions between two kinds of logs, like the deployment logs, so those ones that you can see here, and what we called the applications logs. Those logs were completely separated from the interface. So it was not super convenient in terms of user experience just to move from one place to the other. Now, with the V3 version, you have a unified interface for that. So you just have the concept of logs. So regardless like the type of log, so it could be like deployments log and application logs. So from one single interface, you have access to all the logs. So from the deployment logs, but also the application logs. And to move from one to the other, you just need to, for all the application within the same environment, you can just click on the different tabs that you have here. So if I want to see the logs from the front-end application, I can just click on the front-end tab. The back-end application, same here. I can just click on this tab. Going back to the deployment logs, same. You have the first tab that is the deployment logs. And one other thing that is super convenient in the case that you have multiple application instances from your application running, you have this filter on the top left that you can use, where you can see the different versions of your applications or even different instances running from that. So you can filter from those logs and just get the logs from those this instance, for instance. So yes, that's what we bring from the last month on the logs, and it's very convenient. So you can use it right away.
Nice one. So next coming up, we have some accessibility improvement. So a few months ago, if you are reading our changelog, we already tackled some accessibility improvement on the V2, and now we are doing it again on the V3. So we made sure that with our changes, the color are accessible to people with and without disability. And basically, we wanted the text and the icons to meet the color contrast requirement. So this requirement follow some guidelines, which are called WCAG, I think, if I'm not wrong, and we are leave it like a level AA conformance. So basically, the process to make these changes was to check the contrast between the text and the background in the component, and then modifying the colors with darker nuance. So you can see here on the screen what it looked like on the interface, and it's already on the V3, so you can already see it. And I'm happy to say that we have our front-end team here today, and they are the one that made those changes. So well done to them. But yeah, and the last thing up, we will talk about something a bit different. We usually don't talk about it during demo day, but I feel like it's quite important to talk about it, and it is partnership. So we already did like one partnership earlier this year with usage.ai, and we are doing it again this time, but with Gitbot. And this time we went even further than the last time, because we are talking about an integration that is straight into our console. So you don't even need to leave the console to try it out. So yeah, the goal is to, go for it.
Oh, sorry, Albane, go ahead. I just wanted to, if you want, I can just show how it looks like in terms of integration for the users.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, if you want to show it, I can share your screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we ready? Yeah?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, absolutely. Go. Yeah, and as you said, Albane, and thanks for that. So yeah, Gitbot integration is what we call a hard integration into the product. So meaning that we have created like connections directly to their product. Actually, it's very simple, but you have access to a new button now that you can get. So for instance, here I'm inside an environment, the staging environment, and I have multiple applications that are running. We have a front-end, back-end API gateway. Those applications are linked directly to Git. So when I've deployed those applications, I've just picked the repository, my Git repository that I've selected, and then deployed this application. Now, if I want to change the code from these applications, so I can just click on edit code, and then from that, I can right away just open Git pod. So it's well integrated. So directly from your browser, and we made like a live event with Git pod just explaining all of that. So we can just also share the link from that event. But what does that mean? It means that from your browser directly, you can just edit the code from your applications. And because Qovery is integrated with your Git account, so every single change that you made on your code, on the branch where you are, they will be like automatically redeployed from the Qovery interface. So it's really like what we call the futures, because from your browser, something that were not possible like 10 years ago, directly from your browser, you can deploy, you can code your applications, develop your applications, and also deploy those applications in staging, production, whatever you want in the cloud directly from your browser. So yeah, that was the idea, just showing that. So thank you, Albane.
Thank you for the demo. I can feel like the Qovery team is getting a bit impatient in the backstage. I mean, on the side. So it's time for us to move on and to enjoy your walk down memory lane. So to kick off, let me start with the first question that will serve as a kind of warm up. Anyone in the team can answer. It might be messy because I don't know who's going to speak first, but don't hesitate to speak. Let's try to have just one person answering to one question every time, otherwise it's going to last ages. But the first question is, for you, which feature was the most expected by your customer in 2022? Don't be shy.
It's not a matter of being shy, just that there are so many features that we released that the clients were expecting.
Yeah.
But I think maybe the one that I would expect the most was the role permission one, at least on my side. Because controlling the permission to access in the project and environment probably was something was really missing on the platform.
For me, it will be the shell.
It was something that was quite asked as well by your customer.
So I would say that. And container also.
And can you explain just to the Romain, can you explain just a bit about like the shell to our users, what it is and how it works, just because they are maybe not familiar with it?
The shell is the feature that we add to the Qovery CLI, and you can check it now because it has been updated to provide more feature. And basically, from your terminal or from the CLI, you can access like it is an SSH session inside one of your pod running on your cluster. So if you want to debug or just get into the environment of where is running your application, you can use Qovery CLI and the shell for that. And after that, you have a Linux terminal like usual.
Amazing. Okay, super clear. Okay, next up, so talk more specifically about the whole year. So in the beginning of 2022, I know it seems ages ago, but because so much has happened since. But so in January 1st, I would like to mention it. In the beginning of January, Alessandro, which is lead product manager, joined Qovery. Everything changed after that. So after that, Alessandro was even busier because that's when our team started to work on the V3. And we will come back to it a bit later. But my second question will be about the Qovery Terraform provider. So that was shipped in Q1 2022. And I could talk alone about it, but enough of me talking. So I will ask the team directly. So for you, what is the need of for a Qovery Terraform provider, and who uses it at the moment? Anyone?
I was saying, Albane, can you repeat your question because you have some connection issues, I guess.
Sure, sorry. So my question is more, what is the need for a Qovery Terraform provider and who uses it?
You mean Terraform provider?
Yeah.
Basically, it's DevOps. Developers use the UI to set up their environment setup on their cluster. But once it has been done, some people, like DevOps people, want to automate the process of bootstrapping an environment and the cluster on Qovery. So they use directly the Terraform provider we made in order to manage Qovery like it was infrastructure as code, and they use Terraform mostly. They can also use the Go
Okay.
SDK or other SDK, but most of them use Terraform.
Okay. So now I think moving on to Q2 2022, that's when the V3 console was launched in alpha testing at the beginning. And one of the big changes compared to the V2 is that the V3 was built on React and not on Angular. So the question is for our front-end team, how did you guys adapt it to the change from Angular to React, and would you do it again?
Of course, we would do it again because this V3 is a complete success. It's an enhanced version on every point, and thanks to Remy's guidance, that was knowing React, and thanks to also the knowledge we gathered about the product on the V2, plus NX that was bootstrapping all of that, we had like a great pleasure to rebuild this V3 from scratch and React. So yeah, I don't know if you want to add something, Remy, but it was a pleasure to work with you on this project.
Yes, for this V3, we have reused the experience of the V2 with the logic of the store and the usage of NX. And it was a big mission for us during this week, but now it was super pleasant to develop with this V2.
Yeah, we made
so
sure
much,
to have
guys.
like a great developer experience on this new product, on this new version. Today is so comfortable to work with this
And
version.
this new version is also available on GitHub. It has been released open source, so you can see the code.
I can share the link.
Yeah, I already shared it in the chat. But I can also add something is that it's much more like convenient and easy like to hire the front-end developers. So since we have moved from like the Angular to React, so for sure it's also like a bet on the future. It's definitely also like the committee is much larger, so I do guess that for the front-end guys it's much easier also like to work on the future. And I can say in terms of like a product perspective that we are releasing much more faster like features than before now with this V3 version. So it's like a huge success from my it's an investment obviously from like the company perspective and the product perspective, but it's rewarding at the end. So it's a good and well done, front-end guys. We have a question.
Well done.
Albane from Kevin.
Sure. Okay. So when do you plan to remove the V2? Alessandro?
I can take this one. So there are
I'm gonna put us in here, by the way.
Screens.
Like this.
There are a few screens that are missing on the V3. For example, the cluster management that actually Remy is working on right now. I would say that we should deliver the latest pages in Q1. So I think that by the end of Q1, I hope that we're gonna completely stop using the V2 and be 100% on the V3. But we're already working on the migrating, let's say, putting at least most of the pages on the V3 as a main, let's say, interface. And by the way, any new feature you're gonna find is gonna be on the V3. We completely stopped developing new features on the V2.
Yeah, can't wait to see the V3.
Like, yeah, everything exciting is happening on the V3. That's where you need to be. Exactly.
It's fun,
so
Albane.
Next up,
it's fun, Albane, because
can you hear me?
You have a huge delay. You have a huge delay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah. That's the problem of going back to parents for Christmas. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry for that. Yeah. So yeah, later on during this quarter, we work on partnership. So the first partnership was with usage.ai to save on cloud costs. And now my question is more, how do we find partnership at Qovery, and what make a good partnership fit with Qovery? So I don't know who want to answer to that. Maybe like Morgan.
Morgan is the head of partnership.
Yes, I take his role. Okay. Yes, we did 2 or 3 partnerships this year, and yes, we look at various criteria when it comes to setting up a partnership. Just to name a few, yes, we think if we share the same value, which can be about the product or customer obsession, mission, purpose, for instance. But yes, for instance, we have set up a partnership with Cloud 303, which supports some of our customers in the migration process. And for instance, the way they work is very much in line with the way of doing stuff. And so there is a perfect alignment before each other. The other thing we are going to look at is the customer value they can provide on this partnership. For instance, you mentioned Gitpod or usage.ai. If there is a perfect alignment and complementary between their product and our products. So that's thing. And the way we find a partnership as a tech company, we spend a lot of time trying the product, spending time in conferences as well. So we meet a lot of great people, great products, and just we see if we can have some good complementary, good alignments in our mission and vision as well. So we have we will do a more and more partnership in that way. Just to name a few, KeepCost, Doppler, for instance, and many more.
Yeah, I would also add something that just before that, even those steps that Morgan mentioned, is that we are also eager to get the feedbacks from our users. So as we are exchanging a lot with our users, we are just getting their feedback a lot about what is missing on the platform, what do they expect, and all those things. And we have already tons of things to do. So obviously what we want to do also build great partnerships with the ecosystem, just to make sure that they don't miss anything from the Qovery platforms. And by using products that are also super, that are also focusing on their job. So our goal is to find the right partners, as Morgan mentioned, but also based on the feedback of our users. Yeah.
Nice. I see we have another question in the chat. Yeah. It is still delayed.
Yeah, it's still delayed, but I can say, okay, so it's Florent. Thanks, Florent, for asking that. So when do you plan to show metrics into the dashboard? So I guess, Alessandro, is a question for you.
Yeah, thank you.
I just throw the ball to you.
I saw the notification as well. Yeah, it's something that will be on the V3 for sure, but do not expect to have like a very complex metrics, because at the end, what we think is that there are already really good products on the market doing providing you metrics. I won't mention any of those, but you know all of them. But the idea is just that they were gonna do for sure some, because we already have few metrics. We don't have the historical information, but we're gonna provide them. I suppose for sure, like let's say something we're gonna work on the first half of the 2023. But it is not really a priority for us, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I can even add. So Florent, I will just share with you the link in comment. But as Alessandro said, we have great partnerships with Datadog, but also you can use any kind of observability monitoring solutions that you may want to use, because once again, so Qovery is a product that runs on top of Kubernetes. And all the products that are working with Kubernetes are working also with Qovery. So we have the documentation explaining how you can just take advantage of that. So just feel free to use those products just to get the best monitoring ever that you need for your applications. But we'll support some like simple and basic metrics, but you can't expect from Qovery just covering like all the full spectrum of what you can need in terms of like a production. So yeah. Maybe
so I just cut my
camera.
camera. Is it any better?
Okay. I don't know. We'll give it a try.
No. Can you hear me?
Obviously,
Yes.
it's not better. We can't see you anymore, so it's a loss.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah,
Such
it's a loss.
poet.
Yeah. Okay, so if you can still hear me a bit, I have a few more questions. One is the fact that in 2022, we added infrastructure logs. And my question is, why are infrastructure logs so important?
Okay, so I can take this one. So yeah, basically back in the days, we did not have like infrastructure log like in the UI directly. So we had to snitch into the raw logs on the clusters and in the engine logs, and it was not very convenient. Also, plugging such logs allowed us to very like kind of standardize the way we log and we report errors. Because like, as you may know, cloud providers are not working the same way. So you might have like some errors on Scaleway that are not the same on AWS and so far. And also inside the AWS, like the API is kind of not the same for every product. So yeah, we bring a bit of light on this one. So making this standard also allowed us to give you like the end users the keys. So we provide the error and then the information, and on error, for example, we can give you like some tips or documentation to help you deal with this error. For example, back in the days, we had a lot of errors with quota on AWS. And it was very not that trivial for you to realize that you had quota issues. And now it's kind of automated on our end, saying, okay, you have like no VPC left, so please open an AWS ticket for that, and so on. So that's mainly what I can see. And also that's on our end, we put a lot of monitoring and fine-grained alerting in place. So in the future, every single error that we are not aware of or never handled before, then it opens like a ticket on our backlog so we can deal with it. And also like providing you the better information that we can have. Yeah, that's what I had top of my mind.
Amazing, super complete explanation. We have few questions left, and one of them is about a beta launch that we had not that long ago. that is container deployment. Most of you have been waiting quite a long to deploy container application from your private and public container registry. And my question is, why use container instead of application?
I can answer this one. It has been requested by a lot of people because Docker using Qovery to build your application lets you get started quickly. So a lot of people was liking it because it make Qovery easy to grasp. But once they mature a bit in their usage of Qovery, most of them start to use dedicated product to for a CI. And with that, they want to run tests and stuff. And once they put the finger on that, they want to use to build their own images and push it on their own registry. So it was natural for Qovery to provide also to those users the possibility to use their own images that they have built outside of Qovery.
And if I had to add something as well,
Thanks.
you can also add
again, another super clear explanation. I will invite you guys.
I'm sorry, Albane, there is a delay, still a delay. So
Go ahead, Alessandro.
You can also add any public image. Maybe you can find maybe on Docker Hub. You can use one of those. That's something that wasn't possible before because you had to build something from a repo, but now you can basically use any image that is available on a public registry like Docker Hub, for example. That's the only thing I wanted to add. Go ahead, Albane.
Yeah, hey, go Albane, go Albane. Go.
Nice. Thanks, Alessandro. I will try. So, arriving to the end of the year, we talked a lot about features and everything, but my last two questions are quite different. So the product is super important, but let's not forget that there is this beautiful team behind, and behind making the product, there are people actually. And today we have Mari with us, which is people manager at Qovery. And I have one question for you, Mari. And my question is, what were the main challenge for the year, but from an HR point of view?
Hi everyone. So I think the main challenges of the year was I think Qovery has a great ability to adapt itself. And I think it's really to face the different challenges. So meaning hiring, but at the same time, process everything, set up the culture and formalize it. And in the meantime, support the team in all the daily tasks. So it was, I think this is a great challenge.
Great. We have, before my last question, we have another question. The chat is on fire tonight. So here is the other question on the screen. I will not read it as my voice is buggy. Who want to answer to that?
It's for you, Alessandro.
Yeah, for the first point, Florent, regarding the parallel deployment, it's something that we will do as a next step. So basically, before allowing you to enable the parallel deployment, we need to basically improve the deployment logs to avoid to have like logs going up and mixed up. So we need to just review a little bit the interface, and then we're going to enable as well the parallel deployment. So you're going to be able basically to deploy, I would say, group of applications that are not interdependent. So basically, you can say that I want to deploy my databases first all together, and then I'm going to deploy all my, for example, backend application all together, and then all the front ends. You can split basically in groups, and they're going to basically be deployed in parallel, but within a group. And it's something that we will basically should be available in Q1 yes, once we're gonna have the new deployment logs interface. I mean, we already have the new one. We just need to improve it so that you're able to see better the splitting groups, and as well being able to display each of the applications that is being deployed.
Sounds amazing.
Perfect. I hope this answers your question. Yeah. So my last question is for all the developers. Whoever wants to answer first does, so fight for it. So for you, which was the feature that brought the most challenge and why? Anyone?
There were so many, in fact.
Environment variables.
Okay, so which one was the worst for you? Come on, spit it out.
Yeah. I agree with Romain. Environment variables is a pain.
Yeah, front-end side too. Environment variable is still creating a lot of.
It's a feature that liked by a lot of people, especially the inheritance between organization, project, environment, and stuff. But to maintain, and every time we want to update to add the feature or to move something around on variable, it's like a crazy complex, and especially for secrets, as we encrypt everything, it's even more complicated. The logic is not trivial at all for front and back.
Yeah.
And user can be happy because we are adding a new feature.
I didn't thought that would be a feature for both.
It is. Many complexity comes from this one. Yeah, it's strange. This is not the first one you think about, but yeah, in the end, this is the most painful one. But it's always cool because it's a feature that brings along the two teams. We are like developing it like hands in hands, very happy to work on that together. It brings us together. It unites us. So this is a feature we won't get rid of. We love it.
And we are in the progress of adding variable templating inside the values of variables. So new feature.
What is that? No.
I don't think it will be impacting for front-end people, but user will be able to use like templates inside variable, so they can create a new one from template.
Maybe I can, maybe Albane, you can share my screen just that then I can just show a bit about like environment variable secrets, because maybe people are not familiar with this part, but it's a very convenient one. And it's true that it's a well-loved, it's not the first features that you may think about like a Qovery, but it's like really necessary when you think about environment management, different application management, when you have tons of applications that are working all together, how do you make sure that you can connect and share information between those different applications? And this is where exactly environment variables and secrets comes in. So you can create environment variables very easily with a key. So the key, the value, and you have the notion of the scope. The scope is where you want to also spread the variables. So you can spread the variables across the whole project, an environment, and an applications, for instance. Okay, you can also define it as a secret variables. You have also what we call built-in environment variables that are injected automatically by Qovery when you create a service. And all of that, what they are all saying, Romain, Benjamin, is that it's a mess. I don't want to be like a rude, but it's a real mess, because we manage the relations between all those elements, and they are like made in a immutable way. And one major features that you can get from this system is the ability to create what we call aliases. So if you have built-in environment variables that are defined, you can create aliases and say, hey, this environment variables, actually, I just want to use it as a Redis, for instance, login inside my application. Okay, so it's the name that is used inside my application. So you can create this alias, and you can even do what we call an override. So you can, for instance, define an environment variables, but also override the value. For instance, if you are using separately into different environments like the production and staging, you may want to also override the value from the original environment, and this is where you can just override this value. So you have tons of mechanisms that are really necessary just to take advantage of the ability to create multiple environments, preview environments with Qovery. And this part, it is not the main thing that we can think about, is definitely one of the most complex part of Qovery. Yeah, I just wanted to share that, sorry.
No worries. So the all the questions are now coming to an end. And before I leave you, because my voice is cut anyway and it doesn't work well, I will leave this time Romaric to have the last word and to say a last goodbye to everyone before we go. So Romaric, is your time to say goodbye to this demo day and maybe to talk a little bit about 2023 if you want to. You have 5 minutes max.
No, yeah, I don't even need like 5 minutes, but maybe Pierre wants to say a word. He didn't talk, actually.
Yeah, just a little bit. So a few words is about a coming feature. We have, I mean, all the team have worked a lot during those 3 months, and we know that there wasn't that much feature, but the biggest are coming in Q1. So stay tuned, because I think you will be happy, and have a good rest during those Christmas holidays. You all.
We can say the name of this feature, no? Like
we already have talked about some, like parallel deployment and stuff like that, but I think I will let all the mystery and let Albane talk about them in coming blog posts and stuff like that.
Yeah, but there is no mystery, actually. We were talking about them for most of them. We have like a few posts. But yes, it's we want to focus a lot on the DevOps needs and Ops needs, basically in terms of governance, control, all those things, and the ability, obviously, to deploy any kinds of applications. Also, it's like one of major aspects of the future release of the product and what the team is working on. But it's like a pleasure. So we'll continue like for 2023 to do like those demo days, just presenting you like great features that we were working on. So this format is quite useful just to be able to share what we did. I want to thank also like my team, because they did like a great job. Actually, I'm just the ones that is, I'm the voice, I'm the person from the company that you can see me everywhere, like on the social medias. But actually, I'm not the ones that is really working. I'm just like talking a lot. So I just want to thank my team that is doing like this amazing job of building this stable, great platform that is loved by our users. So they are spending a lot of energy just to make it work. So if you want to thanks them with them, just like feel free to share your love, even on the forum, instead of opening like issues or thread because you need help. Just open a thread and say thanks, Qovery team. It's also like super appreciated. So
yeah, and we all have our own Patreon and Utip, so please. Just imagine if every worker in a company would have a Utip, or oh my god, it would be so a Patreon.
If I let Benjamin talking, he will say in just like a few minutes, few seconds that he's working for free and he's waiting for your tips just to
tips not included. Tips not included. They always say.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, and thanks to our customers, obviously, that are like also like super helpful, just giving feedback, also improving the tools and our open source tools, because like 60% of our product is open source. So thanks a lot for all of that, and yeah, I wish you like a good rest and good end of the year. Any other words that you want to add, Tim? Feel free. It's free.
Happy Christmas,
I
everyone.
think let's just say goodbye.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah.